Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another Homework Helpline. I'm your host, Mr. Jackson. Thanks for joining me today. Well, we all had a nice, wonderful, long weekend. I know that many people took the opportunity on Friday, being a virtual day, to get caught up on homework, and I was here making sure that I was doing what I needed to be do for the Lawton Public Schools. But now we're back, and it's time to get busy with our basically homework hotline. So we're going to spend the next few minutes basically just getting ready for people to start asking their questions. So as a reminder, you have a few options for questions. You can email me. And my email address is on the screen. It's garrett.jackson@lawtonps.org. You may use the QR code that is available on the screen. That will open up the email on your phone. Or if you are not using your Lawton PS account, you can use the live chat to chat your questions. And I'm standing by. So we're just kind of standing by a little bit. Just a couple of reminders. I will talk with y'all about some reminders. If you are in my classes, let's see if I can pull that up real quick. If you are in my classes, you should have seen today's podcast. And in that podcast, you saw that our daily agenda. I'm going to pull that up on the screen right now. If I can. There we go. And today's agenda for classes while we were having class today was the podcast, which you should have listened to, the daily attendance, and the study island review. And then, of course, today's homework helpline is 4:30 to 5:30, and we will be doing this again tomorrow. So anyway, let's be moving on. Let's pull. So we have one viewer. I'm not sure who that viewer is, but let me see if I can up. And oh, it looks like one of my favorite YouTube personalities is doing a live stream as well. I'll have to catch that on the flip side. So let's see if I can pull this up. And this is, it looks like we're going live. Okay, it looks like we're going live. Okay, yeah, I need to turn that down before we have some feedback. So again, we're going live, so good deal. So we're waiting for people to come online for the homework helpline. Sorry, it's been a long day, a very long day. If you are just tuning in, remember to smash that like button. That lets the people know at Lawton Public Schools that people are paying attention and watching this video. It also gives me a little indication about how many times this is being viewed. And so I am going to take a moment and answer a phone call. Sorry, I forgot to take it off mute before I started talking. Sometimes we get calls from people that where we have to take care of some things. So let's do that. So moving on. So as we're waiting here, remember I do have a time limit of how long I will go live until somebody either logs on or we will end the live stream early if I'm on here for too long and nobody is logging in. So let me do something real quick. Rather than just talk to no one and just make stuff up, I'm going to bring up a lesson that we're doing in class, and I'm going to talk about it. So maybe if somebody needs some help, and just to kind of keep in mind that I am still new at this whole process of live switching and doing live streams. So if I don't do things exactly as efficiently as I would hope, do bear in mind that I too, like my students, are learning. So what I'm going to do right now is we're going to go over some learning of an assignment that we're doing for my class, one of my classes. So if you're doing 6th grade, Western Geography, this is the Study Island assignment that we're going to take a look at. And let me move this. Okay, so I'm going to, as you can see, the screen has gone blank, but I'm going to move to a app. Hold on a second. I want PowerPoint. I want desktop, app window, Firefox. Okay, there we go. So if you look on the screen, we are looking at a preview of an assignment that I created in Study Island. And so let's examine what we have here. So what we have up on the screen is a question with a graphic. So one of the things that I want to emphasize is when you're taking a test and you are given a map or a graphic or a chart, the question is really asking you how well can you digest and give us the information provided this chart. So let's take a look at this real quick. Geographic regions of North America. And this is a map of North America. And if you look right here, this is Mexico in gray. This is the United States here, Canada, Alaska. Now, what we don't see here are the territories or islands associated with the United States. So the question asks this: which geographic region on the map consists of high mountains stretching more than 3,000 miles through North America and forms the continental divide? Okay. And so we're going to look at this. So we have is a key right here that tells us the different colors, and it's associated on this map. 1, 2, we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8's up here, and right here, and right here. Okay. So let's look at this map. So this kind of gives us a clue about things. Which geographic region on the map consists of high mountain stretches more than 3,000 miles through North America and forms the continental divide? If you look at this, we can rule out a few things. Number one, we can rule out a few things: highlands, range, and Great Plains, because it says the geographic region on the map above consists of high mountain stretches, okay? And that's going to be the Rocky Mountains. And you would see that on this map. Now, this is not a very good map, but when you take your OSTP test, okay, there is a possibility that you would get a question where the map is not ideal. So you need to have some familiarization with that, okay? And so that would be the Rocky Mountains, and you would mark that answer. Okay. Next question. A NASA satellite image of Canada. The Canadian Shield is covered by a thin layer of soil left behind after glaciers melted at the end of the last ice age. Which number, okay, so that's which number right here, okay, we're going to highlight that, on the image represents the Canadian Shield. Okay, so when we look at our map, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're given 4 answers here. Okay? 4, 3, 1, 7. So we know it's not going to be 2 because it's not one of the answers. Okay? We know it's not going to be 5 because it's not one of the answers. And we know it's not going to be 6. So 2, 5, and 6 is not it. We can look at the map and we can see this 7 right here. That's probably not going to be it either. So we got to look at 1, 3, 4. Okay. Now, this is, again, you're going to have some prior knowledge about the Canadian Shield. But if you were going to guess, which one do you think it would be? Okay. We can rule out the ones that we know it's not going to be, 2, 5, and 6. And most likely not 7. That leaves us with 1, 3, and 4. Take a look. What do you think? If you selected A4, that would be a good guess. Now we see a similar question. Okay. A map we saw previously on question 1. Look at the map above. What number represents the Canadian Shield? Okay. Sometimes tests will give you the same question asked a different way. Okay. So let's think about this for a second. Now, I've activated the tools that we have here at the top, but you're more than welcome to not use tools. But let's take a look at this. We can see that the Canadian Shield, we see 3, and we're going to use our highlighter. Okay. What number represents the Canadian Shield? Okay. We have 6, 7, 5, and 3. Okay. If you remember the previous question, we can look at this map. Okay. On this particular question, do we know why it's not 5 besides it's not listed? Okay. It's over water. There's no thin layer of dirt here underneath the water there is, but so this is water. Okay. What do you think it is? Pick 6, that's the one I would go with. Which number on the map above represents the Rocky Mountains? And I told you before the Rocky Mountains was right here on this map. Again, you'd have to have some sort of background knowledge to understand this, but it's asking you to look at a map and with that background knowledge, make an identification. Is it 3, 4, 2, 1? Remember, there's 4 answers given on a multiple choice. The right answer and 3 distractors. A distractor is one that's not a right answer. But we know right away it's not going to be 5, 6, 7, or 8. So it can only be 1, 2, 3, or 4. Which one is that going to be? And this kind of gives you an idea about how the questions are asked. And these are things where in class, when you're doing these study island things, I'm not having you do them without being able to use the textbook. And if you're online and you're having trouble, you're welcome to use the internet to get this information. Okay? Because one of the things is if I didn't go over this well enough for you in class, This is the time to ask questions. It's also the time for you to look up some of the information and learn how to better use your textbook. Let's pick a different one. Let's see. Let's go to this question. On the map of North America above, and again, if we were doing this a little differently, it would be above, but it's to the left here. On the map of North America above, which letter labels the Atlantic Ocean? Well, if you look over here on this map, you see water, water, water. So let's look at this. If we're looking at this, it's asking what ocean. Let's look and see what isn't an ocean. S, that's over land and the Great Lakes. That's not an ocean. U is over water. V is over water. And W is over water. So you have to know what these bodies of water is. Well, we're all familiar with the Gulf of Mexico, which is right here. Gets its name from Mexico. So you have Mexico, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida. That's the states. Then you have Cuba down here. Okay. And that feeds into the Atlantic Ocean. And over here on the western side of the United States, you have the Pacific. And the question asks, which letter is the Atlantic Ocean? We see that right here. Let's highlight this. Okay, and we want to know what the Atlantic Ocean is, and that's going to be this right here, which is the Atlantic Ocean. And that answer is going to be B. So does everybody see how those maps work? You have to have a little bit of background information and knowledge, but the map should be able to give you a clue as to what you're looking at and why. Let's take another look at a different map, and let's see if we can get this. This is going to talk about Mexico. The topography of Mexico. Which number on the map above represents the Gulf of Mexico, an important region of Mexico's oil production? Okay. Now let's examine this for a second. First, I'm impressed we have a map that's above, like the question says. But here we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we have these numbers over this white area, which means that it's water. And if we think back to what we know about Mexico, the Gulf of Mexico, north of the United States of Mexico, and that's the official name of Mexico, you have Texas and Arizona, New Mexico, and over here we have California. But it's not listed. And so this land border actually comes around like this, if you can see my cursor. And so we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. And it's asking us, what is the Gulf of Mexico? So let's highlight that real quick. Gulf of Mexico. Can you guess which one is the Gulf of Mexico? If you selected 3, you are correct. And one of the things you need to think about is maps a lot of times will give you some hidden information. Remember, I showed you at the top of that map of Mexico that there's actually land up there. It was Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, California, but you had to know where the water was. So it's asking you to think a little deeper. This is a map of Mexico. Where does this body of water fit in? You're going to have to kind of think outside the box a little bit. So that's kind of a key thing. So let's look at another question. Let's pull one up. Let's see if we can find one that's a little easier. Okay. Let's take a look at this one. Which river is labeled number 2 on the map? Okay, so when we look at this, okay, we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay, 9, 10. And I suspect, oh, yes, here we go. Right here, we have this little slider bar. That brings me to a good point. You might have a slider bar here so that if you're not getting all your information. Okay, so we know number 2 on the map. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So let's tell you what it's not. Let's take what we know, because this is not something I necessarily would have gone over specifically with you. Okay. First thing, this river right here without a number, that's the Red River. And how we know this is the border with Texas that we have. Okay. Okay. And this is the Mississippi. The Ohio River, it's going to be up here in Ohio. Okay. Colorado River turns into the Rio Grande, which is right here. And the St. Lawrence River. So I may have messed this up because I just said the Colorado River was this one. But we're wanting to know number 2. And I'm thinking that this is the Colorado. Now, I mess things up all the time. So let me see if I can figure out a map of the Colorado River. And we're going to look at maps. Okay, and we're going to back up a little bit. So when we look right here on this, we're going to be looking for a map of the Colorado River. And so we can kind of see the Red River right here. Let's see if I can pull this up on a satellite map. So if we look at our question, it's asking about number 2. So this is California. Here's the Gadsden Purchase with Arizona and New Mexico. So New Mexico's here, Arizona's here, California. And it's hard to see on these maps, isn't it? This looks promising. Oh, this looks like water. So this is the Rio Grande, okay, which is, I think, this river 4. So that's where we're at. So we need to go further west. So if we go over here, okay, this is promising. Oh, here's a river. Here is a river. Okay, but that's not looking promising right now. No, I think we're looking promising right now. No, I think we need to go further this way. We're looking for something that comes up. Well, this is promising. This tells us Colorado River. And it looks like it kind of follows the same path. And it looks like it kind of follows the same path. Yes, the Colorado River. So when we come back here and look, aha, we know it's the Colorado River. And that's the reason why you should be looking. And we can confirm this by following it up and see if it follows the same path. Okay. Yeah, that's got to be the Colorado River. Because it follows kind of the same path. So you split between Arizona, and California. Just going to point out, you think they do any irrigation right here in this part of the desert? You know, you've got California on one side, looks pretty deserty. You have Arizona on the other side, and then you have more deserts. I bet you they do some farming and some irrigation here. Just going to guess. And that kind of tells you exactly how powerful maps are. They can tell you a lot of information. So the Colorado River. Well, I tell you what, we have spent the last 30 minutes online, and I've gone over a few questions from Study Island for the 6th grade Western Geography class. And I'm not going to stay online very much longer. There are other things that I need to accomplish for the day. Again, we will have our homework hotline again tomorrow, homework help with Mr. Jackson from 4:30 to 5:30. Remember, I always reserve the right to stop this early should nobody attend. I'm hopeful, though, that if you did need help, you were able to look at what I was able to provide and basically get help from there. If you need me to provide more help, my recommendation is send me an email. Again, my email's on the screen, garrett.jackson@lawtonps.org, or you can use your phone to snap that QR code and send me a message, or ask me in class, and I'll be glad to answer whatever questions you may have. So until we meet again tomorrow, my name's Mr. Jackson, and I'm so glad you were able to join me. Be sure to like and smash that like button for me. I greatly appreciate it. Until tomorrow, thanks and have a blessed day. Greatly appreciate it. Until tomorrow, thanks and have a blessed day.